1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys. I'm James Hake. This is the Hake Report. It is Thursday, August 29th, 2019. Almost the end of Men's History Month, second annual. And appreciate you guys for your contributions. Let's keep them coming. If you have any Men's History Month contributions that you want to add or any appreciation for men's history that you want to present, that would be great. Men have been both under attack and become very weak. And so we need to deal with that too. It's kind of like the white people have become under attack and very weak. So we got to deal with those things. Men's History Month and White History Month. Thank you, Jesse Lee Peterson. I'm live in the fourth hour of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show video streams, Monday through Friday. Live on my channels, Hake, or the Hake Report, Sundays, 9 a.m. Pacific time. We will answer your Streamlabs Super Chats and D-Live Super Chats tomorrow. We have a few left over that we didn't get to because we had a great guest in Jesse Lee Peterson's last hour and great calls as well, and Jesse wanted to deal with those. So we will get to them. Appreciate you guys. And if you give any more, make sure you screenshot them and email me or the producer at jesseleepeterson.com or James at jesseleepeterson.com or both, whatever. So be careful out there over in Florida, as well as, who knows, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, East Texas, especially along the coast, because, and maybe Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, who knows, because this first hurricane of the 2019 season is looking pretty strong, maybe, according to Trump and other people, meteorologist types. So it just passed by Puerto Rico. It put the power out at many full-on islands. Island-wide power outage, blackout, poof, nothing. But it didn't do as much damage as people thought that it might. And it wasn't a hurricane. I think it was a Category 3 at one point. And it might become a Category 4, which is really strong, supposedly, I guess. But so be careful, guys. And then I will get to your calls. Appreciate you guys calling in and holding. 888-775-3773. Hang tight, and we will get to you. We being me, as well as the screener. Joel Pollack. I want to report a little bit quickly before I get to you guys, you callers, about Joel Pollack. Joel, not to be confused with Joel, Friday Dominic. Joel Pollack is a Breitbart reporter, and he's white, or he's Jewish actually, and his name is pronounced Joel. And I want to report about his prior correction of Beto O'Rourke. I talked about this yesterday, but I want to recount their conversation because it is a little bit interesting. So Breitbart's reporter, Joel Pollack, was thrown out of a Beto event at a historically black college. I reported all about it yesterday and commented about it on Hake News and the Hake Report. And I reported today about them issuing a retraction and saying, oh, he can come after all. But we were just trying to keep the black people safe. So dumb. But let me just show you an exchange in which Beto was accused of being disruptive. And he was falsely accused of being disruptive. And here is the only exchange that Joel Pollack has really had with Beto O'Rourke. Breitbart News. I'm going to read this as though it's from Breitbart News, but it's from Joel Pollack. Breitbart News says, meaning Joel Pollack says, the president, Trump, he's asking a question to Beto O'Rourke at a Monday campaign event, something. And I think it was this Monday or last Monday. The president, Trump, after Charlottesville, said that he condemned the white supremacists and neo-Nazis totally. Are you aware that you are misquoting him or partially quoting him, not quoting the full extent of his remarks in Charlottesville? Are you concerned that that might inflame tensions rather than heal divisions? Because Beto O'Rourke had previously repeated the hoax line that Trump had referred to the Nazis as very fine people, which is something that Democrats constantly say and the media never corrects them. And even members of the media repeat it. And so that's a lie. He didn't refer to so-called Nazis as very fine people. He said there were very fine people on both sides of this protest in which Antifa rioted and were allowed to riot. And it resulted in a white man driving into a crowd of people and killing somebody. So Beto responds, no, I believe in truth, in the truth, and being honest about what the president was doing. And it's not just that he referred to Klansmen as, quote, very fine people, so much for believing the truth. It's that he attempted to ban all people of one religion from this country, meaning Muslims. We're constantly warned of an invasion of killers, rapists, and animals from Central America and Mexico, and I'll get to that. Though we know that they commit crimes at a far lower rate than those who are born in this country, which is another lie. This is a very well-coordinated attack on minorities on this country, on the most vulnerable and defenseless, for political gain for the president. So that's Beto lying, and he continues to lie. And he knows full well that it not only offends our sensibilities as a country, it is leading to violence and the taking of lives, as we saw in El Paso, referring to the El Paso killer, who killed a bunch of Mexicans, who admitted that he had his views about immigration and the environment and all that stuff prior to Trump. So this guy's lying. Breitbart News responds, Joel Pollack, he says, but he said he wasn't referring to the neo-Nazis and the Klansmen, just a clarification. He said he wasn't referring to the Klansmen as very fine people, that he was referring to nonviolent protesters, left and right. And so Beto responds, he has openly courted the support of white supremacists, and that's a matter of fact and a matter of record. He has repeatedly, though given the opportunity, refused to disavow their support, which is another lie. I reference, and you can check the tape on this one, at a rally in Florida in May when someone says, shoot them, referring to immigrants. He laughs and smiles, and he joked about that. Why not? If that is not a total failure of leadership and a total inducement to violence and hatred, I don't know what is. And you can check a rise in hate crimes in this country. Fake news, hate crime hoaxes, every single year that he's been a candidate or in office. And in fact, those counties that hosted a Trump rally, you can see more than a 200% increase in hate crimes there. Hate crimes are fake crimes. He is very much responsible for much of the violence, the hatred, and the racism that you see in the country. So that's Beto lying. And Beto, he just listed off a whole bunch of lies. He didn't refer to Klansmen as very fine people. That's a lie. He didn't attempt to ban all Muslims from the country. He said that we should. He didn't attempt to. So that's a lie. We're constantly warned of an invasion of killers, rapists, and animals, which is very true. And I'll report about the killers and animals. And we know about the rapists already. And it's crazy. He's lying. And so Joel Pollack is telling the truth about the matter of Breitbart News. And he got kicked out for being, quote unquote, disruptive previously. And that was the disruptiveness. And so he wanted to protect the blacks from Breitbart. And I want to get to some calls, but first let me quickly cover this. Democrats were protecting the blacks from the truth, really. Beto O'Rourke's press secretary, Alea Cavalier, claimed that Breitbart, quote, walks the line between news and a perpetrator of hate speech. There's no such thing as hate speech. Telling the truth makes you a perpetrator of a made-up crime, a made-up fake crime. They think that we're in England or somewhere where they have hate speech laws. The statement added, given this particular Breitbart employee's previous hateful reporting, I didn't know that reporting could be hateful, and the sensitivity of the topics that discussed with students at an HBCU, which is historically black college or university. A campaign staffer made the call to ask him to leave to ensure that the students attending the event felt comfortable and safe while sharing their experiences as young people of color. This guy and this woman, Alea Cavalier, Beto O'Rourke's press secretary, is pushing black victimhood. Just very typical stuff. I just wanted to report a little bit about it. But let me get to some calls. Chris, out of Arizona. How are you, Chris?
Hi, I'm fine, James. How are you?
Fine. Nice to hear from you again.
Yeah, thank you. Happy Men's History Month.
Thank you. Same to you.
So what I wanted to talk about is we're talking about illegals and everything, and they're coming here
Right.
illegally, and they're causing trouble, selling drugs, whatever it is they do. My great-grandparents came here from Lithuania during the Bolshevik Revolution.
From Lithuania?
From Lithuania. They came here legally, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they ended up making alcohol during Prohibition
Wow.
when they got here, and so they ended up being gangsters
Yeah.
in Cicero, Illinois.
Dang.
Cicero is a suburb of Chicago.
Man.
So yeah, so if they're coming here legally
Yeah.
and causing trouble too, you know what I'm saying?
Right up to
So
your
we need that
grandparents.
wall.
Your great-grandparents. That is,
Right.
Yeah. You know, that's true. I mean, that's why they didn't like, there was a reason that they didn't like the Irish or the Italians, you know, like they weren't accepted as quite unquote white, right? They weren't accepted
Right.
as WASPs because they weren't white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. They didn't have the same culture. They had a more like criminal element to them.
Right.
The
And I don't
mafia.
even know what. Right, the mafia. Yeah,
Mhm.
they were part of the mafia.
Yep. Fighting and drunkenness and all that madness. And we have the same thing here. You're right. And the legal immigration today, I would argue, is maybe even worse than back then, because they're letting in, you know, under the 1965 Immigration Act, they're letting in all the different races, regardless of ideology. Somebody
Right.
mentioned the ideology. I think it was Jesse's previous guest on the third hour. Mentioned the ideology of the people that come here. He thinks that the ideology is for a better life. No, it's their ideology is socialism. Their ideology is anti-American. And socialism is anti-American, really.
Well, my great-grandparents, they were pretty patriotic, to be honest. My mother would try to learn the language, Lithuanian,
Yeah.
and the great-grandparents were like, no, you America now. You
Nice.
don't speak. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not the case anymore. They shame if you're Hispanic and you speak English to a Spanish-speaking Hispanic and you don't speak Spanish, they get mad at you. I've seen it like a lot. They
I
will.
haven't had that experience, but that's interesting.
Yeah. Especially if you are Hispanic and you should speak Spanish, or their mindset is you should speak Spanish, you should know how to, and you should do it as a sign of respect to the people that are more Hispanic or Spanish speaking. And so if you don't do that, now it's like, and then there are, it's like you're wrong for for speaking English in America, because we've allowed so many Spanish speakers to come in here. We don't force the grown adults to learn English. The kids do, because they come into our schools for free. And so it's a mess. And then I know like Chinese mothers who don't know any English barely. They just speak Chinese, and they've been here for decades, 30 years or more, 35, 36 years or more, and they never learn it. They never learn English. And
It's
then their
like
kids
that.
get brainwashed in our schools to vote for liberals. And so it's a whole anti-American thing up and down, from the most of the people in government to the legal immigrants to the illegal immigrants, everything.
They need to start in kindergarten again, like when I was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
We'd march in music class with the flag in our hand,
Right.
and we would sing like, patriotic songs
Yeah.
before we started class.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would
it's
be
really
that would be a nice start. but they don't even. I think that we need like a culture-wide change. Like, we need to bring back shaming of people for doing wrong, not shaming of people for doing right. Right now, they're shaming
remember
people
that
for telling the truth.
That game when I was a kid?
Uh-huh.
We played Smear the Queer.
Right. I was just thinking of that game yesterday. That's funny. What was that? Is it just tag?
What?
What was Smear the Queer? Was it just tag?
I didn't hear the last word. Was it just tag? No, it wasn't.
Tag.
You got a ball.
Oh, okay.
You got a ball.
Oh, yeah, you had to
and
peg them. Okay. You had to hit
threw
them.
it up in the air.
Uh-huh.
Then everybody rushed for the ball. Then you slammed the ball as hard as you could into the other person.
Right.
And that person was queer.
Okay. Nice. I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Good input.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm getting a phone call in, and I hear it beeping. So
Okay.
I thought you hung up on me. I want to make a request.
Okay, go for it.
When your show's over, I'm going to order Jesse's book,
Which?
From Rage to Responsibility.
Okay.
I would like everybody, including the pleasant young lady that answers the phone, could you guys all sign it for me?
Okay.
Joelle, Nick, you. I would really love that.
All right. Are you gonna phone in the order?
I'm going to phone in the order as
Okay.
soon as your show's over, because I have
All
to
right.
wait till your show's over.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah. 800-411-BOND is the order line.
Yeah.
800-411-2663. Appreciate that, Chris.
Right.
Yeah, we'll all sign
Okay.
it.
I would love it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Heather, thank you for holding out of Los Angeles, California. First time caller.
Hi, James.
Hey. Nice to hear from you.
How you doing? Nice to talk to you. I've talked to you not on your show, but I've talked to you before, and then I saw you at church once.
Nice.
I brought my little kid in, 2 kids in. But anyway,
Right on.
I had an observation that has nothing to do with the Smear the Queer game,
Okay.
unfortunately. But I was watching Candace Owens, and she was interviewing Sheriff Clark.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there thinking to myself, because I listen to Jesse all the time, and I watch the leftists do their freak out stuff for fun.
Right.
And I was thinking, oh my gosh, we've got a bunch of black people sticking up for white people, and on the left side, we have a bunch of crazy white people sticking up for the colored people.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's hilarious. And I feel like Jesse all the time, like, never did I ever think I'd see the day when,
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost too bizarre, because even siblings don't do that for each other. So if you're mad at one of your siblings, you're not like, but he's a pretty nice guy most of the time.
Right.
They don't do that. This is bizarre to say that there's racism, yet the ones advocating for each of these groups are not even of the same color of those groups.
I know. But it's all
insane.
but it's all like, it's either, that's why Jesse's right. It's either right or wrong, true or false. It's either truth or a lie. Because these people that are, the whites that are like Beto O'Rourke and his people standing up and protecting the blacks from the truth, they're standing for evil. They're blacks' enemy in reality. They're not for, and Trump is their best friend. He is like, he loves everybody, and he's for total unity. Everything that he says is pushing love and unity and pro-America stuff.
I've noticed since I moved to LA almost 10 years ago, and the race stuff was starting to kick in, and I was thinking to myself, they're saying there's all this tension going on. I'm not really detecting it.
Right.
Now, almost 10 years later, I am actually detecting it, because these people have been fed this lie for so long that now they're going, wait a second, why is that white lady looking at me? Or what? I even get like that. I see black people sometimes. I go, oh, are they a nice black person or are they a mean black person?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so weird. And
yeah,
I
the media is
never used
poison.
to do that. Yeah, it is. And I don't watch any television. I only listen. I choose what I watch on YouTube, and
Right
I
on.
do that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the people that get sucked into all of this, they're really starting to, like, they're all want to be Kylie Jenner now, or they all want to, it's all they want to be fit into this mold oh, everybody's racist or everybody's, part of this. Okay, well, it's obviously not true.
Yeah.
If you've got black people sticking up for white people on the right, and you've got white people sticking up for the colored people on the left, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, first of all, everybody needs to fight. Jesse's right. White people do need to stand up.
Yep.
And I love on your show when you actually get feisty and you get pissed off, because I think that's where your niche is. You just need to be like the pissed off dude, about it, because that's where a lot of, I think, white America is at right now. We're like, and we've been robbed. We have lost everything, and everything that our ancestors worked and died for is now going down the drain, and it makes me sick. Mm-hmm. And I prayed that somebody would come and step up and save the day. My prayers were answered by Donald Trump. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that at least it makes me feel like somebody's out there on the front lines trying, because I have no immigrants in my family. My ancestors came on some of the first boats.
Wow, that's nice.
I don't have for me, when I see it going down the drain, I just go, oh my God, they just robbed us. We've been ransacked. They're running off. Nobody's doing anything about this. They're right here. Somebody do something. And I'm hoping that things will change. It's pretty, unsteady in my mind right now. Do I think we're going to get the next 4 years? Yeah, I do, but I don't know what's going to happen after that, because it always tends to flip-flop, and then they give us a sense of hope, they give them a sense of hope, and everybody gets their fair share of slop. And I'm just like, there need to be rules, people need to follow the rules, and we need to be considerate with one another. You have a choice every day. You can be a jerk, or you can do the right thing. And telling someone the truth doesn't mean you're a jerk.
Right.
There is a time to mind your own business, though.
Yep.
There's a lot of
True.
people nowadays who they want to just tell everybody everything, and I think they give everybody else a bad name.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate it, Heather.
That was just my observation. So
thank you.
Keep up the good work, James.
All right. You too.
Right.
Take care.
Have a good day. Okay, bye.
Happy Men's History Month. That is so true. I see people if it doesn't change, they're going to have, if we don't change the culture and wake people up enough, then we're going to have hate speech laws here. And hate speech laws are anti-First Amendment, but they're gonna find a way to force it through, because the college kids are all, or mostly, I say all, but I mean mostly, brainwashed to believe in this stupid hate speech thing. It's so pathetic. And in reality, hate speech is usually when you're telling the truth, because if you tell the truth about homosexuals over in England, you can get arrested for telling the truth. And in America, that's coming, because the people are so brainwashed, and people don't have the spirit of the First Amendment. They don't speak up and just say it anyways, and who cares how other people react. LP, and then they also go a little overboard to it. Some of the people that get the spirit of Satan and then think it's the spirit of the First Amendment. And they go overboard and just insult everybody with when they should be shutting up. So there's a balance. Anyways, LP out of Texas, first-time caller. How are you?
Good morning, James.
Hey.
Your previous caller talked about civics. We need to teach our kids more civics lessons, and that's my term, civics. That's what we did in school, but this is no different than if you joined a company. They're going to teach you what we do, what our rules are. Here's our handbook. Here's how it works. We need the same thing for this country, because when you bring people in that are used to another way, you cannot mix immiscible cultures in one single world and not expect that to be a problem. But you started off about Beto. I'm from Texas. I can tell you the man is irrelevant now.
That's good. Yeah, that's true, you know.
I hate to say don't worry about him because he's out there spewing it. But, I had two neighbors in my neighborhood last year during the state election. They were wearing Beto shirts, Beto signs on their cars, Beto hats, and they were going around trying to get him elected. You don't hear anything from these ladies today. They've given up on him, and I think everybody else has given up on him too, because they don't make any sense. But earlier today on Jesse's show, they talked about the voting machine that kept kicking it back. And I don't know how true the rumors are, but back in 2016, there were several major reports on news channels where they talked about who was responsible for these faulty voting machines.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, George Soros' son was one of the main purveyors of these voting machines in the United States and in Europe.
That's wild.
And I wonder what could possibly go wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
The wizard behind the curtain.
I'll look into that.
Go wrong.
Yeah, I'll look into that and see if that's true. That's interesting. I mean, most people who work for the government, including, I would say, poll workers. Poll workers are more like volunteers, right? But they tend to be liberals, and they don't tend to be the most honest people, and it is open to corruption. And so why wouldn't they be cheating any way that they can? Of course they're going to do it. So
any way that they can is exactly right.
Yep.
But speaking of the election, I have a surefire method to how Donald Trump can win in 2020 with no sweat.
Okay.
And I just want to get your take on it. If he could come out tomorrow and claim that he identifies now as a woman.
Oh, jeez.
And in this world, the Democrats would have to accept it, right? Because they're the ones who push it. He could be the first female president.
Yeah.
He could be the first lesbian president if he stays within the line. He could be the first transy in the White House, if that's arguable. And then if he declares himself a female Hispanic, he could be the first Hispanic in the White House. He would take every reason for the Democrats to argue against him away.
All right. I appreciate it's very cute. Thank you, man.
I think it's a slam dunk. but we're speaking of identity politics, I think about this all the time. When you think about the Democrats and the Republicans, the Democrats push the identity politics. And they focus on everybody's exterior box.
Yeah.
Are you a female?
Right.
Are you black? Are you Hispanic? Are you Asian? Are you white? Are you from this country? They always look at your external box.
Yeah.
Republicans tend to focus on the internal person.
Yeah.
Who you are, what you do, your behavior, what you are.
That's what Trump does.
And then when you split out people into the boxes, then the Democrats step up like protectors. We're going to protect the women from the men and this from that and those from them. It's like the unions. If you vote for us, we'll protect you from management.
Yeah.
If you do this, we'll protect you from what happens. I tend to look at the Democrats as the weak, need protection, can't stand on their own, whereas the flip-flop of that, the dichotomy would be the Republicans tend to encourage self-sufficiency. I remember being in school during some of the race issues, and I had my butt handed to me several times in some fights.
Wow.
I didn't start them. They just happened, okay?
Yep.
Lost a few, won a few. Most of the time I lost them, right?
Yeah.
And my father used to say, I mean, he didn't go down and get in somebody's face or go to school to protect me or go down and threaten the other fathers. He didn't do that. He said either A, step up and be better than they are, or he said avoid it. Whatever your way to do it is. So I didn't need protection, even though these things happen to me. But they certainly mold who you are. And so, from that
how you
standpoint,
see people.
I look at the Democrats as the people that protect the people who can't be protected, rather than the Republicans who say, grab yourself, pull yourself up, make something happen in your life, rather than continuing to be a victim.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd get your take on that.
Yeah, you're right. And they protect the worst in people. They kiss up to the false victimhood of blacks and women and gays and all that stuff. And they appeal to their anger against white people, against cops, against the quote-unquote system and everything else. They thrive on lies and hate, but they pretend that they're fighting against hate. I appreciate it, LP.
They don't condemn your behavior, but they condemn you if you question their behavior.
They only condemn the good behavior of people, good guys, of good men.
Like I said before when I called in, it's easier to fool people than to convince people they've been fooled. Keep up the good fight, because we have to convince people there is no boogeyman.
Right. I appreciate
There's no
it,
boogeyman
LP.
out there.
Happy Men's History Month to you.
Same to you. Be good.
All right, you too. Let's see. Tino out of New Jersey. Tino, how are you? First time caller.
Good. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. No man is good.
I mean, no man's good. Yeah.
What's up?
So yeah, I wanted to call. I was trying to get on this show, but I figured I'd just call Hake. So,
All right, appreciate it.
I wanted to talk. I'm really not too big on politics, but I'm starting to now. But
I don't blame you.
I want to talk about fear.
Okay.
I've been like Christian for like a year now, or a little bit more than that.
Wow.
But I thank Jesse because he kind of like shows people, like he's like a walkthrough, kind of like to show people how to become a Christian.
Yeah.
I call it. So like listening to Jesse helped me become a Christian.
Nice.
I want to talk about fear because a lot of people I've noticed been calling about it, but it's not easy to overcome it. But my experience is like, if like I don't pray, and like when I was younger, I never prayed.
Yeah.
So in the middle of the night, I'm not sure if you ever felt this way, or like you wake up in the middle of the night, you feel petrified, like you can't move, like you feel fear.
I've heard of that.
I believe that's like, I feel like that's the spirit of fear trying to get you away from godliness.
That's an example. That could definitely be an example of it. Yeah, I remember when we were talking about demons and night terrors. You got some noise in your background right now, but we were in the Hake report with Joel and Esteban, when it was with Joel and Esteban. We were talking about night terrors, and Esteban would get sleep paralysis, and it would get worse when he watched like certain movies or did certain drugs, I think, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I used to sometimes wake up screaming so bad that I would lose my voice over it. I lost my voice now, but that's from screaming at the Antifa people. But yeah, fear, it runs people's lives. It's wild. What have you overcome it? Have you overcome it?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to call, because I feel like I overcame that with the silent prayer and becoming a Christian.
Okay.
I forgave my parents. And I feel like when I became a Christian, like after I forgave my parents, like the same day, I felt the petrifying feeling, but I just knew that I had God with me, and it like went away. Like I felt like fear go away, and I feel like I could like help people who have fear. I feel like if you become a Christian and forgive your parents, and you feel that you have God on your side, I feel like that fear will go away.
I think you're right about that. You definitely have to do what's right, no matter what, and so that's one aspect of it. And then, like you said, being committed to prayer is another good thing, and otherwise you're just relying on like yourself, I guess. So that's nice, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's good input for Men's History Month, because that's one important aspect of why men are so pathetic, is the fear holding them down.
The fearful.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to sacrifice yourself to be a child of God, and that comes with prayer and getting rid of what you create God in their image. You have to accept God's guidelines.
Okay.
And sacrifice it.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. That's nice, Tino.
Yep.
Right on, man. Yeah, I hope you're able to get on Jesse's show and report that. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll try to call at 9 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in New Jersey, so it's 9 o'clock when the show comes on.
Yeah. You can try calling 1 or 2 minutes till, because that's when the phones kick on. So,
right.
But yeah. All right, Tino, appreciate it, man. Happy Men's History Month to you. That's cool.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Let's see. Sophia, am I pronouncing your name right? Out of Oklahoma, first-time caller? Oh, I guess not. Sorry, Sophia. Steven,
He's doing good.
Hey, Steven, Washington State. First-time caller. How are you?
How's it going?
Hey.
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Fine, thank you.
I was calling about the kosher deal.
Kosha.
I don't know.
It's kosha. It's like the
Kosha,
N-word.
my bad.
It's not. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
when
yeah.
the N-word you say er. It's not that. It's
It's the
kosha.
appropriate way to say it, right? It's
Right.
the appropriate way. The way that friendly people say it to one another.
Kosher
So,
is their word. Kosha is our word. Then it's loving.
He seemed a little subversive when it came to talking about the wall in Israel.
I'll tell you what.
African border.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if he's subversive or just brainwashed, because there's a big brainwashing campaign going, and so the brainwashed people become part of the subversion. But I totally know what you mean, because he said the Israel wall serves its purpose, and he pretended that it's not about illegals too. It is about illegals.
Oh, look at the African side. That's the part that I was calling about, is the African side, not the Giza side, the other side.
Right.
Where all the people that were coming in for economic reasons.
Yes. Yeah, the Africans were trying to come into... I don't know exactly the story, but I remember reading this story, and I think Tucker Carlson reported on it, that once Israel built their wall, it went from however many...
to like 5%.
Yeah, it went virtually to zero, the illegal immigration, which was a problem. And there was the same thing, the same type of, you're racist, you shouldn't be building a wall. Even in Israel, they're like self-destructive, some of them over there, just like some of they are over here.
The liberals in Washington are,
Yeah. And it worked on the illegal alien side.
Yeah, it was like a 95% stoppage after the first year.
Yep.
And then after that, it just kept getting stronger. So it was like, I think the last number I saw was like, they caught 6 people trying to cross.
Yeah. Israel is a much smaller country, but we're a much more powerful country, and we have the resources. Like Joe Arpaio said during when Obama was allowing all those unaccompanied alien children, so-called, to come in unabated. He stationed the border patrol like 40 miles away from the border so that we couldn't stop him and turn him around. And
they
so we
get
was
in the country and claim asylum.
But Joe Arpaio was like, we're the most powerful country in the world, and we can't stop these illegals from coming across here. Something doesn't smell right to me over here. And he's right. There's no reason that we should have to deal with illegal aliens flooding into our country just because we want to pretend to be compassionate and let them come in as refugees. There's no reason to be allowing refugees or immigrants or illegals into our country in the numbers that we're having. We just need to make white babies. And other babies, too. And stop the abortions of black babies.
To add on to that point, anytime you talk to a liberal about any of that kind of stuff, their biggest thing as well, the majority of illegal aliens are overstayed visas. And
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true, but it's irrelevant.
Obvious question.
Yeah.
The obvious question to ask them is, well, how did you get the number of illegal aliens that crossed the border?
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
You can't put a number on that.
That's called common sense, because if they're actually undocumented, as they claim, then it's not documented how many illegals are crossing. And it could be, it's probably like 1 million a year that cross illegally that don't get caught.
According to Ann Coulter, a few years back, I think she said that the high number, and MIT and another prominent college, I can't remember, did a study on this. The number of illegal immigrants is estimated high 30 million, low 12 million.
Yep.
But they're looking at between 18 and 22 million.
Yes.
Like the median.
Right.
Is like where they think it is. And it's, if you talk to a liberal, they say it's like 11 million. You're like,
yep. They've been saying 11 million forever.
10 years ago, it was 11 million too. So how does that even work?
They pretend that more people are, they pretend that a bunch of the illegals are going home. But the other thing that they're not counting, the other number, is all the anchor babies that are being born and that have been born. Those people should not be counted as Americans. They don't have any allegiance, most of them, to America. Some of them do. Some of them have awakened. Some of them have even been called into the show. They're anchor babies, but they've used to think one way. Now they've listened to Jesse, they've heard Trump or whatever, and they wake up and they agree with what's right. But for the most part, those anchor babies, the immigrants, the illegals, they don't have any support for America or its laws, and neither do the Democrats, who pretend to be about law only when it's Nick is saying, "Fight me because you're an anchor baby."
About the wall.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you.
Yeah, go for it.
What you're saying, but one last thing about the wall.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to give a shout out to the Bears. Whenever the liberals say that it's too expensive to build the wall, ask them how much it costs each year for Americans to pay for illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Because it's somewhere north of $130 billion per year.
Yeah.
And that's, I believe they said the wall, we only needed like $7 or $8 billion to get it started.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe my logic and my math is just really bad.
No, man, you are so right. They want, the communist system is to overwhelm our systems so that they can swoop in and create another, even worse false solution. So they're overwhelming the immigration system, blaming the victims, and the victims in this case are ICE and Customs and Border Protection. Those people are the victims. Some of them are corrupt. They'll let the illegals in, a few of them. But for the most part, they're getting overrun. And then they're blaming ICE and the Border Patrol for so-called inhumane conditions when they're the ones creating the inhumane conditions by fighting for these people to come in unabated and in huge numbers. It's a mess. I appreciate it, Steven. You wanted to shout out the Bears real quick?
Yes, sir. Grizzly Bears shouting out the Bears.
Nice.
Go Dogs. Georgia Bulldogs.
Right on, Steven. Thank you, man. Take care. Let me get to Maze out of Dayton, Ohio, my favorite caller. Maze, how are you?
Hello, James.
Hey.
How are you today?
Doing fine. How are you?
So you worried about the storm that's coming across?
I'm not worried about it. I just want people to be careful because it is supposed to be a major hurricane, according to Trump and them. So, yeah, be careful, guys. But I'm not worried.
And listen, what kills me listening to these bright people, is this storm going to be liberal or conservative? Which one is it going to be? But
neither.
Have a name.
Storms are neither liberal nor conservative.
Thank you. So why are y'all foolish people right here talking about a liberal and a conservative?
Oh, because the human beings tend to be
instead of being human.
Human beings tend to be good or evil.
Really?
Yeah.
So is this storm going to be good? Is the storm good or bad?
I'll tell you, it's probably a little bit of both, because it is considered an evil. I think it's considered an evil, I guess, when destruction.
Or is it evil because of what?
Huh?
Is it evil because it tears up things, or why is it evil?
Yeah, it's considered by some. I'm not sure if I agree, but I might. Evil. Mm-hmm. When a natural disaster kills people and stuff like that. It's considered an evil.
But when it don't kill people and it destroy other things that's been taken from people, and what is that called, good?
And that's called an act of God.
Thank you.
And insurance companies...
He's doing his act.
Yeah. I don't know if it's actually an act of God, but the insurance companies call it that, I think.
And it scares you, yeah, okay.
Right.
That's all I wanted to know about that part. And there's a young lady that called in and thinking that somebody is taking something from you all, which is not. The only fight that's being
America is definitely being fundamentally transformed.
You're having a fight with each other. Everybody else should stand back, look at you, and maybe y'all will calm down and come to your senses. The people of color just need to sit back and watch you, like the North and the South fought against each other. That's what y'all doing now.
Interesting.
If people got sense enough to see it, and if they're smart enough to see it, they can sit back and look.
All right.
But you're always putting us in the middle, and we don't have nothing to do with it. You're worried about the people crossing the border. The people used to cross the border.
I don't think anybody mentioned Maze. Nobody mentioned Maze.
I'm giving you
all
my
day.
opinion.
No, but you said they're putting you in the middle. You said that we're putting you in the middle. We didn't mention you.
Of color in the middle. We don't have nothing to do with what's going on with you all.
That's a lie.
That's y'all problem that y'all got to suffer with.
That's a lie.
And we are just going to see some
The
of us
people of color hey, Maze, are the people of color part of America?
Some are, some are not. Some
Thank you. So then they do have something to do with what's going on in America.
He has dual citizenship. He done committed crimes and everything else. Some people got dual citizenship and haven't committed any crimes.
You're talking about
like that.
you talking about Kosha, whatever his name is. Kosha.
Whatever his name was.
All right.
And you're sitting here arguing about things
Kosha.
that
What?
you caused, and then you want to have a fit with somebody else and thinking that they did it. You did it to yourself. So sometimes when you do stuff to yourself, you take
Kosha
the
Dills.
on you and keep it out for other people.
All right.
So that's just his quote for the week.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Oh, okay. So why are the white people? I guess you could consider me part of the problem until I become part of the solution.
See, now y'all got to get upset with Fox TV. Y'all got to find another station. That's what y'all
Yeah. Trump prefers One America News Network and probably
Yeah.
secretly prefers the Jesse Lee Peterson show.
Well, he should.
Yeah, he definitely should. I agree.
I mean, you're going to find a bunch of loonies over there.
Over there on Fox News.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do without Fox.
Yeah.
That's the word for today. Whatever they say, y'all got to follow.
Thank you, Waze.
Using your brain power and do what you need to do for yourself.
Yeah.
Stop hating people because of your own mistakes.
Uh-huh. All right.
Like I say,
that's good advice.
People of color for what they never did to you.
All right.
Like they forgive your parents.
Yeah.
You need to turn around and forgive people of color for what they never did to you.
Okay,
Just
cool.
forgive them, and maybe
Back
y'all
at
live a
you.
better life.
Back at the people of color. All right.
Me
Take
how?
care.
What you mean? I'm just telling you the truth. If the truth hurts,
Yeah, do you agree that the people of color should forgive the white people for what the white people never did to the people of color too?
Well, now you tell me something they never did to them.
They never enslaved them. They never did Jim Crow to them. They never police brutality them. They never did any of that stuff. They never did racism against them. They never nothing to black people or people of color.
And they still doing it today.
They're still not doing it today.
Things are going to get better, and they stay the same.
Oh, man,
so
Maze.
Look at the fight that y'all having between each other.
Look in the mirror.
Stay out of it and sit back and look.
All right, Maze. Take care, Maze.
Oh, you too.
Happy Men's History Month. Charles, out of St. Louis, Missouri. Nice to hear from you, Charles.
Hey, Hake, how you doing today?
Doing fine. Happy Men's History Month to you.
Happy Men's History Month. I got to
nice.
Be on your side today.
All right. Let's go for it.
Well, we're going for the border first. The border, it's not just Hispanics, and we've made it an ethnic thing.
I'll tell you why they focus on the Hispanics, which, if it's not already obvious, Hispanics are the main perpetrators of the illegal immigration. Just the main ones. They're not all, but the main ones.
Yeah, but
like 60 to 80 to 90%. But anyways,
okay.
Yeah.
Even if we concentrate on them, it's the people that's coming through that they don't want you to look at.
Yeah.
Okay. We have enough enemies around the world.
And in our own country, inside our borders.
Right, and just come right up the southern border. You know, the news tells the world that 1 million illegals got through in May of this year.
Yeah.
Then I could send a whole force through. Not to mention disease and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's wild. That's a huge number. That's insane.
Okay, and the second thing I wanted to talk about, I think it would be more beneficial as Americans not to hit this from a race point of view.
Which
Whites,
thing?
Hispanics, blacks, coloreds, because when you break people down into categories, you're already in division. We're Americans.
But it's kind of fun to acknowledge the differences.
Huh?
It's kind of fun to acknowledge the differences. It depends on what you're talking about
it's very
specifically.
divisive.
Huh?
It's extremely divisive, though.
Not necessarily, because it's only pointing out the obvious sometimes.
Well, the obvious thing about America is that it's filled with Americans.
Barely.
I'm talking about legal. Okay, I'm not talking about the illegal people.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
but
Hispanic Americans, Black Americans, White Americans, Chinese Americans, and the Americans need to start fighting for America.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Ethnic groups.
Yep, and you know the way to do that is to tell the truth and stop beating around the bush or tiptoeing around the feelings of the people of color or the whites who feel sorry for the people of color or, everybody. They have to just start telling the truth.
If you really
plainly.
look at it, Hank, if you really look at it, it's the Democratic way of dividing the House. A House divided cannot stand.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the Democratic, I'm not saying the people who are Democrats. I'm saying the party and its methodology.
Right. They want everybody, they pretend to want unity, but they want unity in a lie. And Trump wants unity in the truth. And Jesse and other people want to unite around the truth. And if the other people divide over the truth, fine, let them divide. But they call Trump divisive over telling the truth because he's the only one doing it on a national stage.
They're doing that. It's the Democratic Party and the media. Every time Trump says something, they cut it up, and then they call them racist.
Right.
Like the 4 senators. Well, hell, I
know. The 4 filthy senators of women of color who never should have been elected. But shame on the electorate who voted for them.
Yeah, but that was a plot too. Come on, AOC took an audition to get her.
Oh yeah, I know. But I mean, it just shows you how shallow these people are, and actually how shallow the electorate is, and the media to fall for well-spoken candidates of color such as Barack Obama or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They speak well. They don't have that Negro dialect as, who said that? Joe Biden or Harry Reid or something. But yeah, it's so fake.
But that's a Democratic plot. It has always been a Democratic plot.
They never changed. They only got worse. When Margaret Sanger founded Planned Parenthood, she wasn't for abortions. They didn't really have abortions. At least that's what I heard. They were for sterilization. Which they still practice today. Right, and now they're for outright baby killing. They've gotten worse.
Because Margaret, not only did she not like blacks, but she didn't like dirtfoot Hoosiers. People that of her own race that she felt were inferior.
Yep, she didn't like the poor people. She wanted, it's basically just like the people that think we're overpopulated in this country or in the world. They believe in overpopulation. So they're the people that support the environment over the human beings.
Do you know if you took everybody in the world living today, you could fit them into the state of Texas?
Really? Wow.
Really?
Standing room only, though, right?
And have room.
Wow. That's wild. But
so overpopulation is just a lie.
Yeah. I heard, by the way, this is just an interesting side note. I heard that there's as many people living today as have ever died over the whole history.
Well, yeah, because, unfortunately, we're not like rabbits anymore.
Right, I know. Unfortunately, I totally agree. We need to become more like rabbits. The blacks need to quit aborting.
Good rabbits. We don't need the bad rabbits. See, the good rabbits are the ones that love God.
Do you agree with me that if these single mothers, all these blacks and everybody who's committing abortions quit committing these abortions, they would become better people? I think that they would.
I think that abortion within itself is foul.
Yeah.
I think that any woman that says it's her right to kill a child is just saying, I want to be a slut and I want to hide that fact.
Alyssa Milano was so glad, she claimed in her book, I think, that she committed 2 abortions in the 80s in 1 year when she was like 19 or something like that. And then she's like, it was my choice and it was the right choice twice. And then now she has kids, on her terms. and she's just playing God. She's an evil, nasty, filthy, disgusting, hateful woman. I don't think that she would be that able to be so hateful and disgusting had she had those kids. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that by committing these abortions, it makes them more evil.
Milano is charmed. Anyway,
yeah,
she's charmed
by Satan. Yep.
But I'm pro-choice.
Really?
But not the way they look at it. I'm pro-choice because you have the choice to think about what you're doing before you do it.
Oh, okay.
You have the choice to use contraceptives if you can't help yourself.
Yep.
You have the choice to choose who you're laying with.
Yep.
You have the choice to know if you can economically support yourself and a child before you do the act.
They're not pro-choice for the men at all.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, but sir. For men, we should be pro-choice. I choose to pick a woman who cares enough about herself and myself and our future children to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so men need to stop mating with sluts.
Yeah. I agree, Charles. Very good contribution to Men's History Month.
Men's History Month.
All right.
Keep it zipped and hold your lip.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Charles. Take care.
All right.
Bye. You know, they talked about, I was talking about abortion, and I've argued this with other people. There are people that think that it's good that we've allowed the blacks to kill their children because then there are fewer criminals running around on the streets. That's not true. These people that are committing these abortions, that kills your soul to do something like that. Doing any kind of evil, it makes you worse in life. And just same thing with the people that give in to drinking all the time or drinking too much at all, or smoking pot or any of those things. You are deadening your senses and becoming more insane rather than more sane and clear-minded and good. You're not committing to what's right. So I just wanted to point that out because I think that if they were doing that, if they were not able to commit these abortions, we would have more babies in the world, including white babies. And I suspect that the white abortion rate is actually much higher than it's claimed to be because of the morning after pill I don't think those are counted among those abortion counts and all these other things and all this contraception stuff. Like that congressman from Iowa said, we need to be having more babies, not fewer, but Obamacare and Medicaid and all these Democrats and many rhinos probably want to pay for counter whatever getting pregnant. It's a shame. The DHS has barred the Democrats from visiting border facilities after rude and disruptive behavior, and I totally believe this, according to Drudge and Fox News. They're on a mission to smear Customs and Border Protection and ICE, and that's under Elijah Cummings. He's black, the congressman from Maryland, I believe. Oh yeah, Baltimore, where they have rats and the people who need help, but Congressman Cummings cares more about the illegal aliens who are coming in and making life tougher for everyone, including themselves, because they're not doing what's right. They're just fleeing a tough situation to take advantage of the easy opportunities in America. It's a shame. So they're on a mission to smear the Customs and Border Patrol and ICE with interviews and photos of detainees, etc. They're pretending that they're doing journalism or exposing the truth. But they're not. And there are extreme acts of violence on the rise in Mexico. I reported about 27 burned to death at a strip club and multiple mass killings in Mexico, setting examples. And the murder rate is the highest it's ever been, I think, in Mexico. So they're not telling you the truth about what's really going on. Appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.